ถือว่าเป็นโอกาสที่ยากมากเลยที่เราจะมีทั้งผู้บริหารจาก Fyne Audio แล้วก็วันนี้เรามีลูกค้าคนสำคัญด้วยนั่นคือคุณรุ่งรัตน์นะครับท่านเป็นลูกค้าที่มีประสบการณ์ยาวนานนะครับมีความรู้มีความสามารถแล้วก็มีความเข้าใจในผลิตภัณฑ์ของ Fyne Audio เป็นอย่างสูงสวัสดีครับคุณรุ่งรัตน์ครับสวัสดีครับโอ้วันนี้เรียนเชิญเลยครับไม่ทราบว่าเคยเจอหรือยังครับ
เคยครับ Hi Mac
Hello again how are you
Good to see you again
เดี๋ยวเรียนเชิญตามสบายเลยครับมีอะไรสอบถามได้
ได้เลยครับได้เลยครับ
ครับผม
Hello again
Yeah today I'm really want to thanks to AUDIOFORCE that give me an opportunity to meet up with you I'm very interested with your products especially I want you to introduce some good products for me
Sure.
Since I already own 2 pairs of Fyne,
you do?
I need to get a third pair.
Well done.
Okay, so today, we have plenty of speaker over here.
Yeah.
Which one you going to suggest me, for my living room?
I've just arrived from the Tokyo high-end audio show, actually. So I'm a little bit jet lagged, but I'm fairly up to speed, I guess.
Okay.
Used to talking. I've been doing 3 presentations a day for 3 days. In Tokyo, and there's some real audio files there, and we had the biggest room, we had the ballroom, using F1 and vintage. It was a fantastic show. Anyway, that was Japan, that was Tokyo this weekend, which was superb. Now I'm here with our friends AUDIOFORCE in Bangkok, and I love coming here, as you know. So really, the big news is the Fyne vintage products, which is a small range really of 4 products, the 5-inch, 10, 12, and the big 15s, which we have on display here.
Yeah.
So this is technically, it looks like an old product, but it's very modern in its technology. So it's an American walnut cabinet with a burr walnut control panel at the front there, but actually the chassis of the speaker it's a birch ply laminate, so it's a very strong structure with this beautiful walnut and these real inlays. That's not painted, that's the proper inlay on top. But the technology that's behind these vintage models and the whole vintage range really is amazing. So there's 2 things that people normally ask us. The first thing is, are you Tannoy? And we're like, no, we're definitely not Tannoy. But Dr. Paul Mills, the head of acoustic design, obviously he ran all the technology there since the 1980s. And then we left and formed Fyne in 2017. So we're only 6 years old, so we are a relatively young company, but with literally centuries of experience between all of us. And Dr. Paul wanted to develop new technology, so I guess there's a similarity because we use 1 point source drive unit as well. This is the very latest generation of our ISOFLARE drive unit, which has fine fluting around the perimeter, which helps terminate surface energy as it radiates out. We design and cast our own chassis, or baskets as we call them. It's a compression driver. It's a multi-fiber cone. People say it's a paper cone. It's not a paper cone, it's a multi-fiber cone. So a little bit like baking the perfect cake, you might alter the mixture.
Okay.
And so it's multi-fiber, and it does differ. And Dr. Paul Mills keeps the formula of a great secret.
So is my room, suitable for this pair of speakers?
Well,
5 by 6 meters.
Normally I would say no, you need a big room. But actually, one of the great things about the Fyne vintage product is it has the bass tracks diffuser system.
Okay.
So what we are doing, we are controlling the bass energy as it travels down the cabinet and hits the diffuser. It's like a cone at the bottom, like a mini mountain. So the energy that comes straight down into 360 degrees as it hits the top of the cone, and it comes out like this. So imagine dropping a small stone or pebble into a still pool of water. The rings will radiate out from the central point. Yeah? So you have exactly the same effect or control of the bass with these speakers. What does it mean? it means that it really reduces the boundary effect, as we call it. So it means that you can put a big speaker in a much smaller room than you ever could before, because we've taken hold of the bass. We're controlling the bass after it's left the cabinet.
So how about compared to the F1 that I own it?
Well, you own F1s and,
Yeah.
well, I own quite a few Fyne
Okay.
speakers, obviously, but at the moment in my house today, I actually use the bookshelf version of this. So all the technology, the F1 models were the first models that we launched in 2017 when Fyne started, and Dr. Paul Mills perfected this technology, you know, with the bass tracks diffuser system and the new isoflare drive unit. So it was the first, and everything's come from that. This has a lot less cabinet than something like the vintage, so it has a slightly different sound. It certainly has a different look, but it has a less warm sound.
Yeah.
People say to me in Japan, where it's a little bit like the difference between red wine and white wine, which is best. They are both great, but they
Yeah.
have slightly different tastes. And I think possibly one is better for a slightly different style of music. So if you are playing big orchestral pieces and you need a real sense of scale,
Yeah.
then there's no replacement for displacement, as we say. So the air that you can move in a bigger cabinet will always work for you.
Okay.
If you are maybe playing faster, jazzier, more dynamic music,
Fusion,
generally like
jazz.
I do, fusion, like
Yeah.
then generally speaking, people would probably go more towards the F1. That's not to say that both speakers, they do everything very well. At this level, they have to do everything very well, but they do tend to be slightly better in that different, you know, in the different area, in their respective areas of real strength. So it is a slightly different sound. But the F1 model came first. That's why it's called F1. First Fyne
First Fyne,
speaker,
yeah.
and everything's been developed from that. So, so there's a range of vintage products.
Mac, how about, do we have any, you know, better value products for our living room?
Yes, I knew you were going to mention this. So we have something called Vintage Classic. We can go over here.
Okay.
And again, there's a range of 4 models. Just like the main Vintage, there's 4 models. The Vintage Classic.
Look like a pretty old day.
Well,
design, right?
the actual form factor of these cabinets is maybe an older style in some
Yeah.
ways, but the main difference between these guys and the full vintage models, in one word, would be cabinet.
Okay.
Now that's not the only difference, because the drive units in the full vintage are a slightly higher spec, and the cryo treatment that we use is slightly a little bit more sort of tailored to a lower price level. But you know, honestly, we were talking before we started doing this interview, and I said to you,
Yeah.
and it's true, the best value for money products we make are the vintage classic models.
Okay.
Because you are really getting 85% of the performance
Wow.
of the full vintage,
Okay.
but for half the price.
Yeah.
So you've got pretty much all the same technology. You've got the same drive unit with the isoflare, the multi-fiber cone, compression drive unit with the bass tracks diffuser system in the bottom. You can control the HF energy and the presence control as you can on the big vintage. And it's not as if these cabinets are not amazing. They are amazing. But it's not a birch ply laminate cabinet, you know. This is it's not MGF, it's HGF. You know, so it's a very strong cabinet, and it still has, a real walnut finish. So it's still at a very high level. But these cabinets are insanely expensive to manufacture. Yeah.
It's a nice piece of furniture.
It's
beautiful.
They're amazing. They're amazing.
Yeah.
But we know a lot of people maybe can't go straight to to the Porsche Turbo. Maybe they want to buy the standard Carrera first, and that's sort of the difference. But everyone is buying. I mean, this has been the real success story for us. Vintage Classic 10 model. If you take the grill off, oops, sorry, I'll just put the grill there. I'll just turn it round. But it's really clever, because what I don't need to do is put the grill there. The back is completely clear. There's no fixings on the back, or so you think.
It's a magnet.
But we've
inside.
actually put invisible magnets on the back. our friend who's filming this with his very expensive Nikon camera, he's taken the lens cap off. You know, so if you've spent all this money on your fantastic system, take the grill off, and it just makes it easier to store.
And
Putting it on the back, take it off, put it on the back.
Yep.
Literally takes 2 seconds.
Still made in the UK.
Yeah, you can come to Scotland and see them all being assembled. The wood comes from Scandinavia because we don't have good enough wood in Scotland, to be honest. And this is a rather nice catalogue we put together. So this is the Fyne vintage catalogue, and it has the great man himself, Dr. Paul Mills, explaining about it. The two ranges, the vintage range and the vintage classic range. And on the back, you can see all the models and all
the specification.
Because like I said, there's 4 full vintage models and there's 4 vintage classic models. So you can see everything about all of them. But, you know, we're doing so well in the press. When you get one review, you think, maybe they were lucky. But we are winning Best Buys, Stereo Sound Grand Prix Awards, 5-star, all over the world, everywhere. And everyone is saying, on demonstration, Fyne is like, you know, it's the real deal. It's the Maybach to the old Mercedes, you know.
Oh, yeah.
So, and actually, this is the vintage 15. Don't know whether our friendly cameraman can follow us over. I think he can. So this is the big vintage 15. But last year, in 2022, when we first launched the full vintage products, the vintage 12 again won the Stereo Sound Grand Prix Award in Japan. And that's a very, very hard, arguably it's the hardest award in the world to achieve, because the Japanese really know. They really know what they're talking about. So we launched that in 2022. It immediately got the Stereo Sound Grand Prix Award. And then this year we launched the big 15.
This is cute.
It's super
Very
cute.
cute.
I thought you were talking about me for a second there. Oh, you're joking. So this is the little vintage 5, and it has all the technology of the big guys. It has, if I can just pick it up, and I don't know if the camera can zoom in. You can look at the you can look at the cone inside. That's the bass tracks diffuser system. Burr walnut inlays. It's American walnut, birch ply chassis. Some people have tiny rooms. We know
in
apartments, right?
Yeah,
This
exactly.
is suitable for
we have customers that buy the big guys, and you know they're in a position where they can afford to get some, you know, vintage 5s in their studios or whatever. So all 4 models sell incredibly well.
It's look almost the same, but except it's just a miniaturized speaker.
Yeah,
it's exactly the
yes.
same.
Someone's hitting the shrink button and it's just very small.
Yeah,
but you know, so the top models are the vintage range and they are amazing. But again, I do have to stress that the vintage classic models, which are largely the same, it's mainly the cabinet that is still a very major structure, but it doesn't have the cost of these. These are the best value for money. They really are.
Will it last long? The way the design.
Well,
long life.
Forever. It's probably going to outlast me, to be honest, especially the amount of flying around the world I've been doing. You know, these things we give a long warranty on them, and it's like they just.
Tell me, what is that? It's a bottle of
the magazine
whiskey.
Or the whiskey? Oh, the whiskey.
Yeah.
Oh well, I just bought that from for a little display. So we don't have our own distillery. We have most things in the factory now, including a brand new cryogenic facility. We don't have our own distillery, but our good friends at Fyne Whiskey, you know, they promote our loudspeakers. We promote their whiskey. It's just a nice thing to have. And you know, Dr. Paul Mills is a more advanced whiskey drinker than I am, and he really recommends it. It's just a nice thing to have on show. So we often have a little bottle of this standing on our diminutive vintage 5 model, you know. So
and today, you know, I really learned a lot from you, you know, and I think I can go back and
consider, you know, which speaker are more suitable for my living room. ผมก็วันนี้ก็ได้ความรู้มากนะครับจากมิสเตอร์แม็กซ์นะครับที่อุตส่าห์มาจากญี่ปุ่นนะฮะหลังงานไฮไฟโชว์ที่ญี่ปุ่นเนี่ย พอดีแกแวะมาเมืองไทยผมก็เลยมาได้โอกาสจริงๆที่จะสอบถามแล้วก็เรียนรู้กับลำโพงรุ่นใหม่ๆนะฮะโดยเฉพาะรุ่นคลาสสิก10เนี่ยเป็นรุ่นที่ผมคิดว่ามันน่าจะคุ้มค่านะสำหรับใช้กับห้องรับแขกนะครับเห็นคุณแม็กซ์ก็โชว์ว่าเนี่ยได้รางวัลมาหมาดๆเลย ผมก็คิดว่าต้องมาลองฟังกับทาง AUDIOFORCE ดูว่าเสียงเป็นยังไงบ้างนะครับวันนี้ต้องขอบคุณมิสเตอร์แม็กที่สละเวลานะฮะมาให้ผมโดยพิเศษเลยแล้วขอบคุณทาง AUDIOFORCE ด้วยที่ให้ผมได้มีโอกาสได้มาพบกับมิสเตอร์แม็กนะครับโอเคมิสเตอร์แม็ก thank you so much
My pleasure.
yeah for give me your product knowledge okay and your experience wow you have really a lot of experience good experience with speakers thank you so much
Thank you.